Look at an antelope run. It is built for nothing else. It explodes from standing to a blur in seconds, faster than any human who has ever lived. Now look at yourself. Slow, soft, no claws, no fangs, no real speed. In a straight race, you lose to almost everything on 4 legs. And yet your ancestors hunted those fast animals down and ate them, using a method so strange that once you understand it, you will never look at your own body the same way again. It is called persistence hunting. And it is not about being fast. It is about doing something no other predator on Earth can do. Here is the puzzle. Early humans, hundreds of thousands of years ago, often had only simple weapons, or nothing at all, that could kill from a safe distance. They were surrounded by prey that could outrun them in a heartbeat. A lion has the explosive burst to ambush. A wolf has the fangs and the pack. What does a slow, soft, weaponless human have that could possibly bring down something faster than itself? The answer is hidden in something you do every day without thinking. Something you might even be a little embarrassed by. You sweat. 2 scientists, Daniel Lieberman and Dennis Bramble, laid this out in a landmark study in the journal Nature, and the argument is breathtaking once you really see it. They asked a deceptively simple question. Why is the human body so strangely, specifically built for running long distances when we are so obviously slow? And the more closely they looked, the more the body gave up its secret. You are not built to run fast. You are built to run far, farther in the heat than almost any animal alive. Start with the sweat because it changes everything. Most furry animals cool themselves by panting, and an animal cannot pant freely while galloping flat out. Its breathing locks to its stride. So when a deer or an antelope sprints hard, its body temperature climbs, and it has almost no way to dump that heat while it's moving. It must stop. It must find shade. It must rest and cool down, or it will overheat and collapse. You don't have that limit. You are nearly hairless, and your skin is covered in 2 to 4 million sweat glands. You are, in effect, a body wrapped in its own cooling system. You can run and shed heat at the very same time. While the fast animal is forced to choose between running and cooling, you simply do both at once, all day, under the sun. Now add the rest of the machine, because it is everywhere in your body once you know to look. Long, springy tendons in your legs, like the Achilles, that store energy with each footfall and fling it back, so running costs you less than it should. A special ligament at the back of your neck, which apes don't have, that steadies your head so it doesn't bob as you stride. Broad shoulders that swing free of your hips, letting your arms counterbalance your legs. A huge muscle in your backside, the gluteus maximus, that barely fires when you walk, but powers up the moment you run. Lieberman and Bramble showed that piece after piece of your skeleton only makes full sense if our ancestors spent a great deal of time running for distance. Endurance isn't just something you can do, it is written into your bones. So now you can finally see the hunt itself, and it is one of the most patient, quietly relentless things a human being has ever done. You do not chase the animal in a sprint. You already know you'd lose that. Instead, you pick one out of the herd, a single target, and you simply begin to follow. It bolts away far faster than you and vanishes over the rise. You don't panic. You don't even hurry. You just keep moving toward where it went, at a steady, unhurried run, reading the tracks, the bent grass, the disturbed sand. You find it again. It bolts again. And again, you keep coming. But each time, something is shifting that the animal cannot feel yet. You are cooling as you move, and it is not. The sun climbs toward noon. Heat builds in its body with nowhere to escape. It runs, then has to stop and pant. Then you appear on the horizon before it has finished cooling, and it must run again, hotter than before. Over hours, you are not winning a race. You are quietly erasing its ability to recover. The bursts get shorter. The gap stops growing, then starts to close. until at last the animal staggers, overwhelmed by its own trapped heat, its legs failing under it, and you simply walk up to it. No claws, no speed, just time and sweat and the refusal to stop. We know this isn't only a beautiful theory because people still do it. A researcher named Lieberman spent years in the Kalahari Desert running alongside hunters of the sand people, documenting real persistence hunts in the punishing midday heat. He watched men track and chase animals across the sand for hours, sometimes for 10 miles or more, until the prey collapsed from heat stroke, brought down by nothing but human endurance and human tracking. The biologist Bernd Heinrich, who studied both animals and his own running, argued the same thing from another angle. We are, by deep design, endurance predators. The method is real. It worked, and it may be one of the oldest ways our ancestors ever fed themselves and their children. And this did not only shape how your ancestors hunted, it shaped the entire animal you are. Your long legs, your arched and springy feet, your narrow waist that lets your torso twist freely against your hips, the way you can control your breathing independently of your stride, all of it points in the same single direction, toward distance. Even your love of a long walk to clear your head, the runner's high that floods you after miles on the road, the strange, quiet satisfaction of pushing through exhaustion may be echoes of a body that was rewarded for 2 million years for going just a little further. Your brain learned to pay you in good feelings for the very endurance that kept your ancestors alive and fed. You can still find people who live this inheritance out loud. The Tarahumara of northern Mexico are famous for running extraordinary distances across brutal canyon country for hours and even days in thin handmade sandals, seemingly for the sheer joy of it. They are not freaks of nature or some separate kind of human. They are simply doing, in plain sight, what your body was quietly built to do. That same capacity is folded into you, too, into your muscle and bone and breath, whether or not you ever once choose to use it. So sit for a moment with what this means about you. Everything you might think of as a weakness, the lack of fur, the lack of speed, the strange, embarrassing habit of sweating through your shirt, turns out to be the careful design of an apex endurance hunter. You were never built to be the fastest thing on the plain. You were built to be the thing that never, ever stops. The animal that is still coming long after everything faster has had to lie down in the shade. That engine is still inside you, right now, fully assembled. It is why a human being can run a marathon, 26 miles, on a hot day, something almost no other animal on Earth could survive. It is why an ordinary person with training can run for hours. It is why, when you push your body far past the point where it begs you to quit, it can keep going anyway. You are carrying the body of a hunter who outlasted the swift not by beating them in a sprint, but by refusing to fall. There is one more piece of the design, and it is written right into your skin. You are, among all the apes, almost naked. A chimpanzee is covered in hair. You are not. And that is not a loss or an accident. Shedding most of your fur was part of the very same package as the sweat glands, a way to let heat pour straight off the skin while you keep moving. A chimp simply cannot do what you do. It is powerful and quick over a short burst, but it cannot jog for an hour under the noon sun. It would overheat and have to stop. The very thing that can make you feel weak and exposed beside other animals, your bare, sweating skin, is in truth a high-performance cooling system that took millions of years to build. Scientists believe this running body first took shape around 2 million years ago, out on the open, baking grasslands of Africa, in our ancestor Homo erectus, the first of our line to look built for the long chase rather than the climb. For almost all the time since, endurance was never a hobby or a sport. It was how you ate. Long before the bow, long before the trap, there was the simplest weapon of all, a human being who would not stop walking after you. The popular idea that we are born to run is not just a catchphrase. It is a plain description of a body shaped by 2 million years of chasing dinner across the heat. So look at that antelope run one more time, faster than you will ever be, built for the explosion, the burst, the escape. And then picture the slow, sweating, hairless human far behind, still coming. Not faster, never faster, just endless. In a world that belonged to the swift, your ancestors quietly became the patient, and the patient, in the long white heat of the afternoon, were the ones who walked home and ate.